Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So that old saying about elect a clown, expect a circus. Yeah, it is on full display in Michigan right now. Michigan Republicans installed election denier and MAGA Kool-Aid drinker Kristina Karamo as the party's chairperson. They have come to regret that in such a big way. It's bigly, you could say. They tried to remove her from her position, and now they're suing her to get her to go away. Here's the deal. Here's how this all went down. Karamo, if you weren't familiar with her, she ran for Secretary of State in the 2022 midterm elections. Despite being endorsed by Donald Trump, she lost. She lost to Democrat Jocelyn Benson. And it wasn't close. She lost by 14%. But as you would expect, she refused to concede. She whined that the election was rigged. So, of course, Republicans thought she would be perfect to run our party, our state party, because fealty to the apricot antichrist is the only thing that matters anymore. So Karamo's claim to fame, by the way, which is what led her to run for office, was her unproven allegations that she witnessed election fraud in Detroit. That's it. That is all it took, and the Republicans were in love. Anyone with half a brain could see Karamo was a few balloons short of a party, okay? This woman has spewed out the most batshit crazy conspiracy theories. She is like one of these people out there talking about Democrats selling babies' body parts. Well, what do you know? Turns out she has no clue how to lead a powerful state political party. Imagine that. Even though the Republican Party in Michigan, they usually bring in millions of dollars through fundraising, they were about $500,000 in debt after about 8 months under her control. Karamo approved funds for ridiculous things that did nothing to advance their political agenda or their candidates. So, for example, she took out a loan on the party's behalf to pay actor Jim Caviezel $110,000 just for him to attend and speak at their biannual leadership conference. An actor. Yeah, 25 minutes, as I understand it, he spoke. He gets $110,000. Afterward, Karamo said, quote, "We had a goal to raise a lot of money for that event, and unfortunately, that did not occur." As of August of 2023, the Michigan Republican Party had only $35,000 in their bank account. Let me remind you, this is an election year. So around 9 months into her tenure, Karamo's fellow Republicans started circulating a petition. They're trying to kick her out. Their bylaws require a minimum of 75% of the party to remove their chair. So a man named Warren Carpenter, he was a Republican district committee chairman. He resigned in September of last year because of her. At one time, he was one of her supporters. He was a big supporter of Karamo, but Carpenter ended up sponsoring the production of this 140-page report that was titled "The Failed Leadership of the Karamo Administration." And then Carpenter spearheaded this effort to try to oust her. So the report said that Karamo's leadership, quote, "has put the party at imminent risk of defaulting on its line of credit and potentially needing to declare bankruptcy." End quote. The party and its partners in a position of facing significant civil and criminal consequences for failing to follow state and federal law. So Carpenter cited contributions that far exceed the $10,000 state party limit. And there were also unexplained expenditures. There were things like $75,000 for undisclosed services, and they were paid to a business that was tied to a county commissioner who nominated Karamo for the chairperson position. And so the party's bylaws require that a member of each district has to be on the budget committee. Each district has to have a person on that committee to keep tabs on the spending. Well, under Karamo, that rule wasn't followed. And then there's also this $500,000 line of credit that he referred to in this report. And the state party has this line of credit with a bank. Well, over a 4-month period last year, they made absolutely no principal payments on that loan. And it said that they only made sporadic interest payments. So they weren't even keeping up on the interest, according to this report. In fact, the principal balance on that credit line grew by $50,000 over that same 4-month period. So not only was it not going down, it was getting bigger. Well, this past week, the bank sent a demand for immediate payment because they say the Republican Party hasn't made any payments in 120 days. So the notice of default shows over $10,000 in accrued interest owed, also $707 in late fees on the principal balance. And the principal balance is now over the credit limit. It's $509,000. So that was revealed in a court filing because there's also a legal battle going on simultaneously over whether or not the party owns some unused building. It was one time the party headquarters, but it just is sitting vacant. So Karamo wants to sell the building to pay off the debt. But the property is owned by a trust that is completely separate from the Michigan Republican Party. So there's different factions are battling over this. So Carpenter believes that the Federal Elections Commission is probably going to investigate all of this, and it could affect the entire party. And as of the writing of this report that he submitted, their state finances had worsened. The Michigan Republican Party was $620,000 in debt as of December of 2023. So earlier this month, the party held a meeting. 88% of those in attendance voted to remove Karamo as the chairperson. Now, true to form, Karamo is refusing to accept the results of that vote because she's saying it was not official because not everyone was there. Apparently, out of, I think it was like 100 people, there were only 45 people in attendance. So she's saying it didn't count. So now everything is in question. And some members are saying that the vote was legitimate because the GOP general counsel was there. It's a man named Dan Hartman. Well, Hartman was there, but he voted against removing Karamo. And now he's claiming that the vote was unauthorized, and he's referring to the members who set this whole thing up as usurpers. So Karamo is digging her heels in. She's refusing to leave, which when I read that, all I could think of was that scene from Risky Business where Tom Cruise comes out and he tells his friends that the prostitute won't leave. He's like, she just won't leave. I just picture him throwing up his hand. She won't leave. Anyway, so this has devolved into an intra-party brawl. And for some reason, some Michigan Republican Party leaders are standing with Karamo. I mean, she appears to have put them in financial and legal jeopardy. And they're like, yep, she's our gal. We're sticking with her. So Karamo just recently sent a cease and desist letter to her fellow Republicans, the ones who are trying to oust her. She's threatening to sue them for defamation and various other crimes. And then on Friday of last week, those people filed a lawsuit against her. So they're taking her to court to try to uphold their vote to remove her. All of this is happening as the state's primary is about to get underway. We're about 1 month away from the Michigan Republican primary. To say this is a shit show would be the biggest understatement of all time. This is what happens when you let crazy in the door. And by crazy, I do mean MAGA. So live and learn, right? I mean, this was a pretty powerful Republican Party in Michigan. They actually did very well over the years. They ran a pretty tight machine. And then they bring in this loon whose background is in education. I mean, imagine her teaching your children anything. But that was her background. And they're like, oh, yeah, she could run a political party. Yeah. She ran a classroom. That's kind of the same thing. Anyway, I'll let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Get on that Trump train. Woo woo. All right, guys. Love you all. If you can help out and donate, really appreciate it. Love you. Take care. Talk with you soon.